Greetings, groovy people! This is the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon, and I'm starting this Wednesday's video out just a little bit differently. I'm having an introduction. I'm actually going to be redrawing an image that I drew a long time ago for Dark Horse, one of the earliest images, but I also wanted to share with you some of my crap art from when I was first creating the comic. It started with the characters, and then the story kind of grew from there. During the video, I'll talk a little bit more about how it actually started, you know, like the story. But I started out just doing drawings. This is like early, like late high school. Yeah, definitely late high school. This is really hard to see. I'm sorry. I tried to change the lighting. But this is an early concept of Kana. She had a staff back then. She looks so much older than when she actually starts in the story now. And as the story progresses, she will age. All the characters will age. But this is like the first concept drawing of Kana. She doesn't have her Hime style hairdo, Hime princess style hairdo. And she's like your typical white mage. But I'm actually changing her weapon to be a more aggressive weapon, and that you'll see later on in the series. This is a very early ballpoint pen drawing of, you know, over the pencil of Rena. I've always, you know, had her personality kind of set out, but this is an example of that. And Odysseus, this is horrible, you guys. So, like, a lot of artists, whenever they find something that they like, I mean, every artist does this, you copy and mimic what you like. And this is a blatant copy, not a trace, but a blatant copy of the Demon Diary character Eclipse. I'll put a picture of him up here. But I just changed his hair a little bit. It's so bad. But from there, he has evolved into his own character. So yeah, he started off being a copy, but now he looks, you know, like himself, you know. And then, you know, I got an example of what Shimiko used to look like. It doesn't really look like she's 12, age 12, but she's not. Also, I have Sakura written here. That was supposed to be like her nickname, but I don't know if I'm going to have anyone call her that now, so whatever. But yeah, you can see that, you know, if you're ever feeling bad about your art, just look at the progress you've made throughout the years and how much you've improved. I used to like make photocopies, and then I would color stuff over the photocopy so I didn't ruin the original. Because, you know, I didn't have Photoshop back then, you guys. For Act 1, I did a special redraw of this image. I also did a video doing a Copic color of the redraw, but this is what it used to look like. And this is what I'm going to be redrawing. Okay, let's get into the sketching. I started this image my usual way, you know, with a circle template, and I tried to address the proportion issues, and then I build on the image from there. I flip it a couple times. But this latter part of the video is more of a story time than not a traditional drama-filled story time. I'm too boring for all that, y'all. I used to live in the country when I was a kid. That's important because we were the last to be picked up for school, and we were the last to be dropped off, you know, after attending school. So in the mornings, we got to school pretty quickly, but right afterwards, we got out at about 3:08, 3:15, and my sister, my cousins, and myself, we didn't get home till around 4:30. So that's like over an hour quite often sitting on the bus. And it's not that, you know, we didn't talk to each other, but we had a lot of downtime. I'm fortunate enough that I don't get motion sick, so if we weren't chatting or if it was quiet time on the bus, I'd be doing homework, reading, we might be talking quietly, a lot of times I'd be writing, or I would even be drawing, and yes, I realize buses can be bumpy. That was one of the benefits of not sitting in the back of the bus, was being a little closer, it was a little less bumpy up front. But since I did have such a long ride, I would oftentimes do my homework on the bus rather than in school, and then I would probably write or draw in study hall or anytime I got my homework done, or if I was going to do my homework later. That's what I was working on. So I ended up taking care of business pretty quickly, getting the homework out of the way, or, you know, waiting until the bus ride to do it. And then I had a lot of time in study hall where I had to be quiet, and, you know, I might be reading. I did a lot of reading, but other times I was like, I'm gonna be writing and drawing, and ew, I'm the artiste in the class. arch rival that person, she had no idea I was rivaling with her. It was all in my insane head. I was not even a blip on her screen. But at one point, I was writing a fantasy novel, and it may or may not have been filled with tons of, like, David Bowie fan fiction. Whoa. Never really inappropriate fan fiction, but it was weird. But I used to draw pictures to go along with what I was writing. I know I was doing that as far back as 4th grade, and I definitely was doing it in high school. But then somewhere along the line, I was like, man, all this writing is hurting because I hold my pencil really odd in a way that really makes my fingers hurt, and I don't know why I hold it like that. No one's been able to correct me. Maybe they should have been slapping it with a ruler. But, you know, I was able to get away with holding my pencil wrong. Again. So then I was like, I want to draw a comic. That's what I want to do. Screw all this writing. I'm going to do a comic book because I like to draw. And let me tell you guys, this thing was terrible. I basically lifted from a lot of the stories that I liked. So let's get into what the story was. It was of a teenage girl. Her name was Rena, R-E-N-A, which was directly stolen from Sailor Moon, who in the American version she's called Serena, like the moon goddess. Yeah, that wasn't obvious, but I called her Rena, so it wasn't exactly stealing. And she was walking home from school, much like the Neverending Story character. Sebastian lived in a city, so she lived in a city, and she was walking home, and she stumbled across this Chinese magic shop at the end of a dark alley. That Chinese magic shop may have or may not have been that of Gremlins. And of course, the girl who would later become Rena, R-H-I-N-A, you know, she just thought it was a fake curiosity shop. But she goes in, and of course it's ran by an old Chinese man who presumably owns the shop, or he's at least at the desk, and he would prove her wrong by selling her some magic dust that, if you dipped your pencil in, would turn your creations real. Which, I don't know how I got away with watching Cool World, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got that idea from. So, yeah, I basically stole from the Neverending Story, Sailor Moon, Gremlins, Cool World, anything that I liked. That's what this story started as. So the old man had a little squirrel-like creature companion who would later become a dragon, Odysseus. And that creature followed Rena home, and then the secret squirrel creature thing, you know, revealed that they could talk. Okay, yeah, this is all pretty immature for a teenager. I may or may not be a case of arrested development, but hey, it was a hell of a lot better than my V.C. Andrews fanfiction. Anyway, the bare bones of what later became Dark Horse are lying in that flaming turd of a story idea that I had. And then later, you know, as I got more into manga, and you know, I was getting closer to graduation, I had more money because I finally was working. When I was 16, I got a job, and I was not buying so much 60s stuff and was more spending it on like manga. So I started working on a little bit more, still as a hobby, more for fun, because at that time my major was environmental studies. And I took 2 years of that before my advisor, you know, I went to announce it, and he was like, oh yeah, I forgot, that's no longer a major here. But anyway, in 2005, that's when I took Dark Horse on more seriously. But yeah, anyway, what's the moral of the story? Is there a moral of the story? Does there have to be a moral of the story? I don't know, you guys decide. I guess that even in the Word of Wednesday, infantile copycat story formats that, you know, teens often come up with, or kids come up with, there is a way for you to salvage that and have the story evolve and become its own thing. And the other moral is, don't just steal shit from other shit you like. Just, you know, take the things you like and shape them into new things so that they become your own. That's the end of the story time. Very special thanks to all my patrons. Yesterday was Patron Appreciation Day. I want to dedicate this video to you guys because, you know, without the support of friends, family, and patrons, you know, all you guys, the community, you guys keep me motivated. So thank you so much. Also, thank you to you, dear viewers, your time, your likes, your subs, and doing the bell thing. That all helps keep the channel going, so thank you. Question of the week, do any of you have old ideas that you salvaged and evolved and made into something worthwhile? What'd you do with them? Leave that down below. Peace and love, friends. Fare you well, and keep on trucking.